So I want to talk about something that I've wanted to get off my chest for some time. Um, if you've been following me for some time, you know that I have three beautiful daughters, and I make videos on me being a husband and a father, and I show a lot of what I do within my role to make sure that my family system runs smoothly, the way that I believe smooth is. And one thing that people always say is like your daughters are gonna know how to choose the right person, or like your daughters are gonna have high standards for people, and they say people and stuff there, but they're what they're really saying is like your daughter's gonna have to know how to choose the right man. That's really what they're saying. And to me, I never take offense to it because I understand why they're saying it, because they see me being a good example to my wife and to my kids, and therefore I'm modeling something really good for my daughters, which is great. But the problem that I have with that, or I guess I wouldn't say problem because it's not really a problem, but I guess the thing that I would challenge to that claim is that, like, I am not raising my daughters to be taken care of by someone else. For me, I do the things within my home because that's what you're supposed to do within the confines of a family. I'm their dad, and I don't even do like the masculine things, and my wife doesn't do the feminine things. We both make money. We both contribute the money to our family. We both go to the sports. We both fold laundry. We both do dishes. We both do everything. Depending on the season, I might do more of one thing. She might do more of the other. So they're seeing how a team works. And I also understand how I'm showcasing just my side of things. So therefore, I understand how it can look skewed in some ways. But regardless of that fact, just because I'm doing all the things that men don't traditionally do doesn't mean that they're going to find somebody who's like me. Now, there is some truth to be said that they're going to have some kind of standards because they do see me as the first man in their life. There is some truth to that. But what these comments are really saying are like, they're going to know how to find somebody to take care of them. And to me, it's like, no, like I'm raising my kids to be uh, team players. I'm raising them to know how to evaluate a good teammate. I'm teaching them how to take responsibility, accountability, and I would say accountability and responsibility. Um, and I think that when I think about women in general, and how back in the day, women didn't really have that many rights. They couldn't really do much. So the men did all the work, like they would go out to the coal mines or they would do the hard work and whatever. They would come and bring the money home, and then they should come home, relax, and the wife take care of all of like the house duties because that was the wife's job. Like that's where the term house stay-at-home mom comes from how things used to be, which is fine. But things have changed. You know what I mean? Like women have a lot more rights. They can work almost any job that they want to work. So therefore, things should change. Time changes, and we should change with time. That's just how life works. So when I think about like the fact that I know my daughters will have more opportunity as they get older when they are adults, then I need to prepare them to make sure they can stay on their own 2 feet and find the right partner and understand how a system works rather than how I only treat their mother and how they should find somebody who is sacrificial and whatever. And the same thing from their mom's side. It's like Charlotte does a lot for me, and they see how to like treat a partner, not just like the man, like I'm the man of the house. I don't ever say like I'm the man of the house. It's like they know I'm a man. I'm in the house. You know what I mean? Like I am a man. I'm in the house, but I'm not around here like I run this. It's like Charlotte make her own money. I make my own money. Like I go to all the sports. Charlotte go to all the sports. Like I cook dinner sometimes. Charlotte cook dinner sometimes. Like that's how our family system works. There's no one all be all mayor and chief in the home. And I don't believe that's really healthy. I think there's times where I am like, we are doing this or we're not doing this based on my expertise of how I grew up and how I think something should play out. Same thing on Charlotte's side. Sometimes she's like, we shouldn't do this because of X, Y, and Z. Perfect example. Um, we took their girls to get their ears pierced, as you know. And before we went, Charlotte said, hey, if they decide that they want to back out, then we should let them back out. And in my head, I'm like, hell nah. Like, they decide, if they make a decision, I want to teach them to, once you make a decision, you got to stick with it and go with it. And I was kind of adamant on that. And she's like, no, well, you need to understand, like, these are girls. And I want them to understand that it's their body and they can make a decision with their body. And I was like, damn, I would have never thought, I'm a male. You know what I'm saying? I would have never thought that way. So that's how a relationship needs to work. It's about partnership. It's about listening and understanding. So that's how I'm raising my kids. It's not about I'm a man and like I'm treating my woman right and like they gotta eventually find somebody to do the same thing. It's like hell nah. Like stand on your own 2 feet. Now, I guess the challenge to that whole claim is it makes me think of this video that I saw from Keke Palmer or somebody reacting to Keke Palmer, and I wanted to play it and talk about it. I'm gonna play it really quick.
Hey, Keke, listen to me. Shut the fuck up.
So, she says something like "booties matter." Her son, I'm guessing she had a son, and then she got thicker, so she got some ass, as she says, and she doesn't need. She's her own boss and she has her own cash. So she basically like, look, I don't need no man. Like I'm my own person and like I'm a strong, independent woman. And here's the thing, is I just think this whole philosophy for just people in general is just not good. Like independence and relying on somebody are 2 different things. In my marriage, I am independent. Charlotte's independent, but we rely on each other to build something with our kids and within our home. And I think when you hear something like what Keke Palmer said, like she's attributing her worth and what she makes to relationship and building something with another person. They're 2 different things. You can do them within the confines of a home. And I wonder in society today, it's like, why are we separating the 2? Like, why do you have to be an independent woman, make your own money, and you don't need someone? Like, why can't you be independent and have strong morals and whatever, make money and do that with someone? Like, why do they have to be separate? Like, where's this thought process coming from? Because I think from a man's perspective, and not all men, and I'm not speaking for all women either, but it's like when a man makes money, I think that a man will want to make money to build something with someone else. Well, that's not fair to say.
Yeah, definitely not.
I
wouldn't say always.
No, that's not fair to say because I'm thinking about all these damn guys these days. Yeah. As I talk, I'm like, reverse what you're saying because that's not true. So maybe I'm talking about my own philosophy and perspective because, you know, anytime like when I got to the league and like, you know, I got a signing bonus and like made money and whatever, and Charlotte is working and she makes money. It's like we never thought of it like who made more money and who's on top and whatever. It's like, no, this is like this pot of like money. This is for us. Like, how are we going to distribute this amongst our family and what we want to do and the goals that we have? And I mean, what do you think? What do you think of that? Like, where do you think this philosophy of like? Because man, like I even see like there's a lot of like female rappers, and they are very like aggressive as to like they are independent. They don't need a guy. They got their own money. They're bosses and X, Y, and Z. Like, I just don't understand like where this has come from because growing up in music and stuff like that, it wasn't a thing for me growing up. And I just don't know where it comes from. Is it the fact that like, well, I don't know. I mean, do you have any thoughts?
Well, I think it's like 2 things. Like I think I think the Kiki Palmer thing could be coming from like some level of a place of past hurt. That could be part of it. And I don't blame anyone for feeling that
Yeah.
way in that regard. And I think the female rapper thing is like a place of like now they're in a position of power in terms of fame or rankings or however you want to call it. Like I think in the last like 10 years, it's fair to say there's way more famous female rappers than ever before. And so like, again, I do understand that tone to some extent. However, I do agree with you where I think, why can't I have a partner in, like, for me, I'm like, why wouldn't I want to have my wife in my life and get a bag?
Yeah,
Why
yeah.
can't I have both?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
I want
yeah.
both of those
Yeah.
things.
Yeah, and I think you make a good point about it being past hurt, because it just doesn't make any sense as to like if you're with somebody and you guys are both making a bag or making money, it's like this is good for everybody. Like why is there like a hierarchy of like, why is there a hierarchy of this within the family? You know what I mean? Like, and if you are by yourself and you are making money, why should that distance you from somebody? There's like some kind of trust factor there, or some kind of power dynamic, no matter what the sex is, male or female. I think a lot of guys are afraid to get married if they have a lot of money because of what can happen if they get divorced with, like a woman getting X amount of money, dollars or a percentage of what they make. And it's just such a interesting, it's just so interesting because I think everybody wants, and I'm going to say everybody because I do believe this. I believe that everybody wants relationship with somebody else. Everybody does. We're made that way. You know what I mean? And I think for something like the power of, like say so, I guess, because of the money that you make or the independence that you say you have, deters you away from relationship with someone else. It just feels so opposite to what we want. And I think the only thing that can really jade what you really want with a relationship is hurt, like you said. Like you don't want that thing anymore. Or maybe that thing hurts you and now you have something that you think is better than it and you don't need it anymore. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. So like, yeah, like, and I just think that for me, when I say I want to raise independent daughters, it's like independent, like, hey, you stay on your own damn 2 feet. Something hard happens in life, you got to get up. You know what I'm saying? You got to figure it out. Only you can find the answers. You can find other people who can help you. But it has nothing to do with them in relationship to other people. Like when I tell my kids to come here, hey, when you come home, take off your backpack, put your backpack away, take out your lunchbox, throw the lunch away, put the dish inside the thing. Daddy's gonna wash it. Make sure you put your shoes away. Hey, there's no iPad unless you like build some Legos first and do art. I'm giving them foundational principles to like, okay, like there's rules to certain things. And within that rule, you have to be independent and follow those things. And there's independency within like the confines of rules, right? Like we got to pay our damn taxes. You know what I'm saying? Like when you play a football game, you got to ball out, but there's rules inside that game that you have to follow and be independent within that game. Like if I got to make a play, I'm making a play within the confines of the rules of the game. You know what I'm saying? Damn, that's some deep stuff right there.
Those bars right there.
Yeah, that's kind of deep right there. So when you think about it from a family structure, right? Me, there's certain things within my role of a father that I have on my list. Charlotte, the mother, there's certain things within her in her role that she has to take care of. My kids are kids. I'm teaching them. There's certain things that you got to do. Hey, Maddie, you're the oldest. There's certain things that you have to do as the oldest. Luca, you have a baby sister. I don't never call it the middle child, but you have a baby sister. I'm teaching her how to be a big sister to Quincy. Quincy's a baby. She ain't learning a goddamn thing right now. She's just being a baby and she's just eating and pooping and doing whatever she does. So within these roles and within the rules of our home, there's independence within the rules. Like that's what it's really about. That's how society's made. So that's why when you hear Keke Palmer say something like this, that's so like, just like no, like the guy like telling her to shut the F up. It's like, I mean, he's a bit aggressive, but I understand where he's coming from. It's like stop. Like this doesn't work, and nobody really wants this. Like, man, I think about studies that I read about how, and this just let me say this now, but this isn't like me bashing women or like talking down on women. Like I think women should be, I think everybody should be independent, but I think the independence that Keke Palmer's talking about, I'm not on board with. Like that's not what I'm talking about. I think the independence within like the confines of whatever structure that you're in is what I'm talking about. But like, you know, I read this study a while ago how like when like let's say like women like in the workplace where like they want to be like lawyers or something, and like a lawyer is like a heavily like it's like a heavily dominated like male space, I believe. I'm not 100% sure, but either way, like let's say if like a woman's in like a heavily dominated like male workplace, and they get to the top and they're working, they're focused on their career, they want to like get a bag and da da da. Then they get to 35, you're like, okay, like I don't want to be around all these men. Like I actually want to be with somebody and have kids. And this is like, I think at some point we all get to that point, men and women, like we want a family. Like for me, like it happened to me early when I was in college. I was like, all right, this whole like messing around stuff is getting old. Like I want to I just want to have a girlfriend, whatever. I got a girlfriend who's my wife now, 3 kids later, and I'm happy. All my friends are like, yo, like this is kind of old, bro. Like I want to like settle down. So we all get there. You know what I'm saying? But I think it's a mindset of like what it is that you actually want. Well, I think it goes back to what I said. Like you can build something for yourself with somebody, and those two things can coexist at the same time.
Yeah. So this would be my one question then. Is like, let's say it's not Keke Palmer. Let's say it's like Soulja Boy saying all that or something like that. One, does it give you that same reaction? And two, do you think that there's someone at the end having that same type of clip with that guy at the end that is like responding to it?
That's a good question. So I'm gonna answer the second part of the question first. So I think that would it be somebody responding the same way at the end of the video if Soulja Boy said the same thing? I would say no. I think it would be men pumping him up to say yes, that's the right way. I think it'll be women on both sides. I think it'll be women who say like no. I think there are women who like yes, like take care of me. That's what I think the response is going to be. Because I think men, the Andrew Tate fans of the world and whatever, that's what they're conditioned to believe. And that's what they think is right because it's easy. It's hard to look at yourself in the mirror. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's one response. I think there's other response of women who will respond and say yes, silently or publicly, who do want to be taken care of because that's what a lot of girls are taught, like find somebody to take care of you. And this is, I don't feel bad about saying this, but when you look on social media, a lot of women are trying to find somebody to take care of them. You know what I mean? Like that's just the fact. That's just the reality of it. You know what I mean? And there are some women who are like, no, dog, I don't need your money. Like I don't need your money. And I think the women on that side of things would be like you're a douchebag. I wouldn't even want to be with you at that point. You know what I mean? And I think the first part of the question of like, do I feel the same way if Soulja Boy said it? It's like, yeah. It's like, bro, like, ain't nobody, because in my head, like, bro, ain't nobody gonna want to be with you. Like, one thing that frustrates me is like when I see like these guys online talking about like women want to be put in their place. Like women want to know it's like, well, you do too. like everybody wants to know their role in their place so they can understand the confines of the structure of what I was talking about. Everybody does. But for some reason, it's like women are looked down upon and like, you got to know your place. You're the woman. You got to do X, Y, and Z. It's like, nah, dog. Like you do too. You got to know your place too. So yeah, to answer your question, like Soulja Boy was like, no, shut the hell up, bro. Like you sound dumb. And it's the reason why you're lonely in the first place. You know what I'm saying? Like all this money and stuff that you got, like you can't marry any of this stuff. You can't be intimate with any of this stuff. You know what I'm saying? So like, yeah, I would have the exact same response because it's about the thinking within what she's saying more so than her being a woman. It's the process and like what she's actually saying at a deep level of like being human rather than it being tied to like a sex. You know what I'm saying? So when I think about how I want to raise my daughters, it's like, hey, girls, like you guys stay on your own 2 feet, but there's ways that things happen in our home that you're going to take this and apply it to sports, into your life. And when you get to school, it's all the same stuff. We're all trying to figure out these answers and overcome these obstacles. This is how you do it. And hopefully you find somebody who has these same morals as you and you can build with. But then again, they don't even know that. The Charlotte that I married 8 years ago is not the same Charlotte that I'm married to now. The Charlotte that I met the first night that I met her wasn't the same Charlotte that I met 3 years when I was dating her. We're always changing. So for me, it's to focus on the principles of like evolving with somebody rather than like this mindset of like, I got this, you come over here, it's this way, or I got this, I don't need you. It's like, you're going to be lonely. You're going to be lonely. Like nobody can stick around for that. I remember one time we were at the airport and it was like a super, super early flight. And it was this dude there with this woman. And you can tell like they had some kind of like pimp prostitute relationship. And the girl was like drugged out. And like the dude was like yelling at her, like yelling like in front. And it's like 6 a.m. He's like in her face, like yelling at her. And there's everybody's around. I'm just like, what the? And like when I say yelling, I ain't talking about like just raising it. Like he's freaking yelling. And you could tell she's like drugged out. And I remember looking at that. I'm just like, so that happened. And then we get on the plane and then they're sitting on the plane after the police and stuff came. They let them go on the flight and she's laying on him and he's laying on her. I'm just like, there's some kind of power dynamic here to where she thinks this is normal and he is like the man. He's like the whatever. And it's like, some people are conditioned to think that that's how it should be. How the same way that Keke Palmer thinks that's how she needs to live her life or whatever. You know what I'm saying? For me, that's not what I'm going to teach my kids. It's like, you got to know how to be treated and you got to know how to also understand the rules within the game or whatever and find the right person who can do that with you over X amount of time. Like I always say for me, like thankfully, Charlotte made me date her. You know what I'm saying? Like we actually dated and like got to know each other. Whereas before it's like I had a girlfriend, we didn't really date. We just like did our thing and whatever. So one of the things I want to teach my daughters is like, hey, when you start to be with people, like you should actually really date. Like take some time to date before even calling him your boyfriend. Like get to know the person for some time. You know what I mean? So I don't know if the last 5 minutes, if any of that made sense to what I was saying in the beginning.
Yeah, I think it does. I think the one thing I'll say to go back a second is like, I think the pimp and prostitute relationship is probably slightly different than what you're talking about because there could be a lot more at play in terms of the power dynamic of like, she has to because she's trying to survive.
Yeah.
But
No, yeah.
I just want to make sure to like clarify that a little bit.
That is true because I think at that point it's about survival and it's about like, it could be like, because a lot of like people who deal with that stuff, it's like they're trapped.
Correct.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
Exactly.
No, that's actually a really good point. I think for me, I was really trying to get at the point because I don't even know if it was a pimp or prostitute thing. It seemed like it to me, but I'm just saying the way he was talking to her was like clearly there's some dynamics where like she's like you obey at all times. And I guess that's what I was saying. Because when you think about what Keke Palmer says, like, hey, like when if I was like, I don't need you, I got my own bag. It's like, I don't need you. Like I make my own rules. I'm the one who runs this thing. So I think they're the same in some regard. Like she's single, they're together. But when you think about the core of what they're doing and what they're saying or how they're treating, how he was treating her and what she's saying, it's the same thing in my opinion.
And I think like there's something to what even the whole idea of like, I don't need you. It's like, I kind of like with my wife, I'm like, I kind of to some extent hope she goes like, I don't need you, but I would like to have you.
Oh, yeah, that's good, bro. That's actually really, 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 really freaking good, bro. 'Cause I think for me, it's like sometimes like I always tell Charlotte this thing about like, hey, like there's a difference between like needing and like wanting for me. Like I don't need this from you, but I want this from you. You know, like I don't need you to do this for me, but I want you to do this for me, whatever it is. And I think that like the need part of it is like, I like to be careful because like I can do this on my own. I can stand on, and you can too. But if you want me to help you with this, there's a difference. We gotta separate these two because then at that point, we're not building up these false narratives like who's doing what and who has the strengths or the weaknesses in doing the thing. It's about needs and wants. How do we go about that? Hey, I don't need this from you, but I want this from you. But I actually do need this from you, though. You see what I'm saying? I do need, like, respect. And respect looks like X, Y, and Z to me. Oh, you need respect. It looks like X, Y, and Z to you. Okay, great. I want to be more affectionate with each other. I don't think it's necessarily something that I need, but it's something that I want because it's something that I didn't see growing up, right? So now we're talking about two completely different things that are so like, they're like right there. You know what I'm saying? Like right there. You know what I'm saying? So like, what you're saying is a really good point. And I think when me and Charlotte go through our stuff and the girls can see us work those things out, they're building the skills to do that with somebody else, but not to build the skills to like have somebody else take care of them. Now let's talk about being taken care of for a little bit. It's like, what does that really mean? Like, what does that really mean? Like when you get married, like it's, they say it's through sickness and health and through death do us part. It's like, that's a journey for somebody to take care of you. Today we always think taking care comes to monetary value. That's all it ever is. Like, you have money, I have money, I could take care of you. It's like, what does that really even mean? Like, nobody's really talking about the deep stuff. Like, sometimes, bro, dog, like if Charlotte gets sick, or if I go in the goddamn wheelchair and I'm paralyzed from the neck down, she is going to take care of me for the rest of my life. I know she will. Same thing for me. If something happened to her, I'm going to take care of her for the rest of my life. But let's talk about that, bro. What the hell is your money going to do now? What is your independence going to do now? It's not going to do a goddamn thing. And that's what I'm saying. Like, why? And I think it's like nobody talks about this stuff because it's really hard to get to that level. Monetary value, surface, money and wearing the jewelry and having the car and the couple's driving the G-Wagon, you're going to freaking Hawaii. It's like, yeah, great. Like, that is great. That is great. But when something hits the fan, are you really going to be able to take care of somebody? Do you have the skills to take care of somebody for real? Like, do you really have the patience to take care of somebody? Do you have the patience to have a conversation with somebody to get what you actually want? Like, what are we talking about? Anybody can make money. That's a fact. Like, you can find ways to make money, whether it's hustling, doing something illegal, working out. You can find ways to make money. But can you really figure out a way to take care of somebody? Like, actually? Like, come on, bro. Like, this is a whole nother level. Monetary value doesn't mean anything. Like, do you have the skills to take care of somebody? That's the real question. And you gonna clip that. You gonna clip that one, bro, because that was good. I don't know where that came from, but that's real though. Like even think about taking care of yourself, how much work that actually takes to eat right, to work out, to consume the right information, to talk positively to yourself. That's a lot of damn work. That's a skill you got to build within yourself. Can you build the skills to help and do that for somebody else? That's why taking care of yourself is so important. That's why routine is so important for me, habits, because if I do that, it trickles over into my other roles of husband, father, right? And my kids can see me, because my kids don't really see me taking care of myself. What they get is the benefits of me taking care of myself and me treating them really well because I'm taking care of myself. If you can do that for yourself, I don't know how the hell you're going to do that for somebody else. And I damn sure don't know how you're going to associate that with monetary value. The only thing that I can say that monetary value does do is it gives you more resources to take care of yourself and your family, i.e. therapy, gym membership, healthier food. You know what I'm saying? To like, yeah, bro, I kind of feel like I'm going off right now. So yeah, to wrap this whole thing up, it's like, I think what I said in the middle of the episode is like, independence is great, but nobody is truly independent within themselves. You're independent in the confines of some kind of system. Understand the system. What system are you in? How can you be independent with that and work within that independence with the people on that team or in that system? That's what it's all about. And that's why you don't see these quotes and these people who last. They're gone within the year or something. They're out because it doesn't work. We all crave a relationship. We all crave to build something. You can do that by yourself. You can do that by yourself or with somebody. But I think doing it with somebody is much better. And I think that you can be independent within the confines of a relationship, but knowing the difference between the needs and the wants, and just, like I said on Instagram the other day, reading the house and reading the room and reading that relationship and going from there. So that's all I got for today's episode. If you have anything, any challenges, you want to challenge me or start a conversation with what I'm saying, put them in the comments, and I will see you guys on the next one.